Well, hey there. This is not an episode of Life Design Plus, although I am coming to you from the Pursuit Podcast studio. I wanted to record a video, and I want to do more of these. I realized that I'm, giving you stories of people living their authentic life. I'm writing about it on the daily notes, the weekly note as well. But I haven't really leveraged video to kind of give you some things to help you move closer to your authentic life. And what made me think about this today was my daily note. So today is November 7th. I don't know when I'm going to get this edited and out, but go check today's daily note on November 7th. And it's all about the authentic life and my stubbornness of not giving up that term. Long story short, over the years and most recently, like last week or so, I've had people give me some great advice about, my movement, my message, and suggesting, maybe you think of a different term. You can still use authentic life as a part of the messaging, but like no one knows what that is. It's not clear. It's too vague. Authentic makes people get emotions, and it makes total sense. But there are reasons in the daily note you'll see why I will not give that up. And so I was thinking about it, okay, if at first hearing authentic life, people don't know what it is, that's okay. I'll keep on, giving definitions and talking about it, but maybe there's other ways to help people understand what the authentic life is and what it means to them. Because ultimately, everybody's authentic life is different. So after writing that daily note, I've scripted out, or not scripted out, but bullet pointed out my journal, which I love. You can see the boy and the eagle on there. 6 areas that you can evaluate and examine in your life to kind of get an understanding of where you are today relative to your authentic life. Are you close to it? Are you far away? And then once you kind of determine where you are, now you can begin to take steps to move closer if that's ultimately what you want to do. So I'm going to hit you real quick with those areas, and then I'm going to go through them relatively quickly just to give you some explanation of kind of where and why. So the 5 areas and a 6th comment that I kind of came up with were, the first area to look at is feelings. How do you feel? And again, we're going to dive into these deeper, so don't leave me yet. Synchronicities, obstacles, a calling, and and that's kind of touched the feeling, but a little bit different. And then the final part is not really a place to know, but having someone help you navigate some of these answers. So what I want to go start with first is the feeling aspect. And so, when we think about the authentic life, the high level definition of the authentic life is the life you were created to live. If you are watching this, listening to this, then you have a belief that you share with me that we were created for a reason. Something or somebody, some higher power created us for a reason. They gave us gifts and talents. They gave us abilities that other people don't have. And it's on us to figure out, how do we use those to bring something to the world that the world needs that only we can bring? And in that, you kind of find your authentic life, the life that is authentic to you. Only you can live the life that you were created to live. And our mission is to find that authentic life and move towards it and then evolve with it as we evolve. The authentic life is not a destination, it's an evolution. So some of us are living lives that were created for us by others and not our creator, and other of us are moving closer and closer towards it, and there's ways to determine. So again, high level, the authentic life is the life that you were uniquely created to live. Applies to all belief systems, no matter where you find yourself in religion or other areas. You were created with a purpose. Some of us are living that purpose. Some of us are seeking of it. Some of us don't even know that there's something more for us out there. So that is the authentic life. How far away from that life are you? The first way you can kind of do a check is just, how do you feel? So this is the feelings. How do you feel every day when you wake up or you go to work? Because a lot of times we attribute our career and the thing that we do, because it's so much of our time, to our purpose and our a big part of our authentic life. So just overall, how do you feel? Are you excited? Are you full of energy? Are you motivated? Do you wake up every day excited to have another day? Or are you sad? Do you lack energy, lack motivation? Is it all that you ever seem to see is kind of the negative things, the things that are wrong? And I think you can kind of determine where I'm going to go with this. If you find yourself as the first person, jumping out of bed, excited to go, live life and do things, then you're going to be closer to your authentic life. If you are lower energy, then chances are you are further away from your authentic life. And your energy is just kind of your gauge. And I believe that our energy and how we feel is guiding us to say, yes, you are close. No, you are far away. Think back to when you're younger and you play, hot and cold. You close your eyes. You're trying to get to somebody. You're trying to find something. Am I hot or am I cold? And the closer you got, the hotter you were. So you're really hot. You're scalding hot. Like that means you're really close to what it is you were seeking. And if you were cold, you were far away from it. And you could use those cues from the other person to find your way. And I think your feelings are acting as that other person, helping you find your way to your authentic life. The higher energy, the motivated, the excited, more excited you are, the hotter you are as it comes to finding your authentic life. And the sadder you are, and the less motivated you are, and the more problems you see in the world, the colder you are, the further away you are from your authentic life. So I think that the easiest way is just to be honest. Start with an honest assessment and be true and be truthful. You can just do this with yourself. You don't have to tell anybody else the answers, but just, look at yourself in the mirror, sit down with pen and paper and just honestly answer, how do you feel? Are you excited for life? Or does life keep on knocking you down and keeping you down? And there's not a right answer, but it is the first way to gauge, am I close to doing the things I'm supposed to do or am I not? Because I think that the universe and God kind of rewards us through these positive feelings for doing the things that we're supposed to be doing. It's kind of like a reward system. If you're doing what you were created to do, what you're supposed to be doing, then you're going to have good things come your way. You're going to have good feelings versus if you're not doing the things you're supposed to be doing, then you're not going to get that positive reinforcement. So just be honest and don't let the answer make you feel in a certain way. This is just an assessment, and don't lie because you're only hurting yourself. So the first part is think about your feelings. How do you feel? Are you high energy or low energy? And let that answer steer, maybe I'm close, maybe I'm far away. Second thing, synchronicity. My friend Tom Morgan likes to talk about, a scale of woo from 0 to 10. This is a 10 out of 10 on the woo scale. But in your life, do you have a lot of synchronicity? And what is a synchronicity? Plenty of examples to give, repeating numbers, people calling right when you're thinking about them, just things that kind of seem like, oh, that's kind of weird. Like, how did that happen? Almost kind of magical events. Everybody knows my love of the bald eagle and the importance that the bald eagle has in my life. Like that is a synchronicity. So to give you an example of how synchronicity plays out and whether or not they're happening in your life, I wrote about this a couple weeks ago about decision process I went through and ultimately deciding to continue down a path of independence versus potentially joining another firm, a perfect firm at that. And one of the things that helped me navigate this decision, aside from how I felt about it, and weighing what my mind was saying versus my heart, were synchronicities. And an example of this is the bald eagle. The entire time I was having conversations with a firm, I never saw a bald eagle. I wasn't looking for one, but I never saw the bald eagle, which acts as confirmation of you're moving on the right path. Keep on moving forward. I never saw it. And then I began to think about my independence and how important that is and how much I value that. And even though I might have a lot of freedom, there would still be some constraints on me if I was working with a team. And began talking to a coach. I'm going to talk about coaches here in a moment. The first time I talked to my coach, we talked about independence. And that afternoon, I saw a bald eagle. First time through the whole process of this decision making, I saw a bald eagle reaffirming that independence is where I should be pursuing and continue down that path. That was on a Thursday. The next Tuesday, we had to move our coaching meeting up. I meet my coach every Thursday. Tuesday, we meet. Independence is still the theme. I see a bald eagle that evening. And then the final bald eagle, not that I needed to see 3, but the final bald eagle was seen driving up to Michigan State over fall break with Leo, listening to The Alchemist at the part of the book where they are giving Santiago the advice to follow the omens and listen to the omens. I see a bald eagle flying over me, and energetically I was envisioning myself making this decision, moving along the decision-making process as Santiago does, pursuing his personal legend towards the path of independence. And I saw the bald eagle. So those are easily missed. I could have been distracted, could have been on my phone and missed the bald eagle. Easily dismissed as well from the standpoint of, well, that's just coincidence. But I think the closer you are to living your authentic life, the more confirmations you get from your higher power, from the universe, that you're moving in the right direction. It could be numbers. It could be bald eagles. It could be ladybugs. It could be a lot of other things. It could be you've probably experienced these things in your life. Sometimes where one door closes and another one opens magically, not physical doors but opportunities. Or you meet the right person you didn't know you needed to meet at the right time that leads you to the next big thing in your life. These things happen, and I don't believe they're coincidence. So maybe when you're looking for synchronicity, look for coincidences that are happening in your life and look more closely at them. And the closer you are to your authentic life, I think the more of those coincidences, what I would call synchronicities, happen. And it's just confirmation that you're moving in the right direction, and little subtle cues to say, keep on going. So how often are you experience synchronicities in your life? The more you experience, I'm willing to bet you're closer to your authentic life. The fewer, you're not getting a lot of confirmations because you're not on the right path. So synchronicity is number 2. The third one is maybe connected, but a little different. Obstacles. What are the obstacles that you're coming up against on your path? And you will have them. One thing, going back to the feeling, I forgot to mention, even though you may be on the right path, you're pursuing your authentic life, you're really close, you won't always be the high energy. When you're going back to your feelings and how you feel, how do you feel usually? Because we're going to have days where we feel down. Earlier this week, I lacked motivation. I wasn't feeling high energy. I just wanted to do what I needed to do and get to the next day. And I don't know why. I think I needed a rest because I think I have a big surge of creative energy coming and a big surge of progress coming. So I needed to kind of rest. I've written about that before, ebbs and flows. But nonetheless, you're not always going to be feeling great. But if you had to pick, how do you feel on average? How do you normally feel? That's where you check your feelings. So I forgot to mention that, but I want to go back to that. Coming up to the obstacles. Are you coming up against a lot of obstacles? And the obstacle is not necessarily a sign of you're on the right path, the wrong path. But what I think about the obstacle is, are you coming up against the same obstacle over and over? If your obstacles are different, then I think those are just kind of tests of how bad do you want it. We've seen my graph of this is pointless that Jack Butcher did. Sometimes you have to be tested. How committed are you to this life that you want to live? Here's an obstacle just to see, can we knock you off your path? Other times obstacles are there to teach you something. To overcome that obstacle, like Ryan Holiday wrote, the obstacle is the way. Sometimes the obstacle is the way. You have to overcome it. You have to go through it. You have to conquer it. And in that journey, you learn something new. But if you're coming up against the same obstacle over and over, then I think that's sending you a different signal. Either one, you're not picking up the message, so the universe continues to put the same obstacle in front of you, hoping that eventually you're going to learn that lesson. And sometimes we see this with like relationships. Somebody who dates the same type of person over and over and over and it never works out, like the lesson there is quit dating that type of person. But you're not learning that, so you're going to keep on dating that same person. So sometimes the repeating obstacle is you're missing the lesson. So look at the obstacles in front of you. If it's repeating, is there a lesson that you're missing? Or sometimes the obstacle that is repeating is an obstacle. You're not supposed to go down this path. So we're going to keep on telling you, don't go down this path. There's nothing to learn here, or the thing you need to learn here is this is not the path. And if you keep on going down the path, we're going to keep on giving you the same obstacle. So when you look at the obstacles, are they obstacles that actually move you forward, and therefore they're not really obstacles? Or is it an obstacle that you're missing the lesson, or it's an obstacle that is telling you to quit going down this path? It's the wrong path. And the tough thing is, on a video, I can't tell you which is which. If you sit down and look at them and reflect on them, you might be able to tell if you're honest with yourself, or that's where sitting with somebody else who can kind of give you another perspective and ask you more questions can help you figure out, what does this obstacle mean for you? That's where therapists come in. That's where coaches come in. You don't have to go at this on your own, but the obstacles, I think, also tell you if you're close to your authentic life or not. If you are close to your authentic life, there will still be obstacles, but those obstacles will be meaningful. They'll teach you new lessons. They'll test you. They'll reaffirm your commitment to the path you're on, or they might direct you into another direction that is still upon your evolving authentic life. The authentic life is evolving. If you're going down a path, you might need an obstacle to deflect you over a little bit more to this way to keep on evolving with it. So are the obstacles that come along your path, are they meaningful? Are they moving you forward? Or are they telling you something different? What are the obstacles? Meaningful ones, I think you're closer to your authentic life. Obstacles that you're not getting the lesson or meant to be telling you to go a different path, those are ones telling you you're probably not on the right path to your authentic life. Do you feel called to do something? So this is where maybe career comes into it, or hobbies and other things, but do you feel an overwhelming, strong call to be doing something else? Whether that's your career, whether that's living somewhere else, being with somebody else, is there a calling? And I don't think the calling in itself is telling you if you're close to your authentic life. I think it's bringing you towards it. So if you're near or living your authentic life, then you probably are just being called to continue to do more of what it is you're doing. You've met that. And I think that calling is met with a positive feeling, and you're probably high energy and excited and all those things, like they're connected. But if you're feeling called to do something totally different or be somewhere totally different than you are today, that probably tells you you're not close to your authentic life. And I would encourage you to, follow that calling. And as you follow that calling, it doesn't necessarily mean you blow everything up and follow it blindly, but start to move in that direction. Start to experiment a little bit of what it is you're being called to do, and see what you learn, see what you feel, and see what happens. And as you move closer, you might start to see some synchronicities that are telling, yes, keep moving in this direction. Here's the introduction that you needed that you didn't know you needed. Here's a door that opens that allows you to continue to go down that path. As you move more towards those things you're being called, then I think the synchronicities pick up. And if you're like me, when the synchronicities pick up, your energy picks up. And again, you're getting all these cues telling you you're going towards your authentic life. So if the calling is strong and it's away from where you are today, then you're probably not close to your authentic life. If the calling is confirming where you're at, then you're probably living your authentic life. So the calling and the direction that it's taking you probably could be a good indication of if you're living your authentic life, if you're close or if you're far away. And then the final one is, going back to levels of woo. This is another 10 out of 10 is you just know. A lot of us tell ourselves stories, our head gets in the way, and we don't really get in touch with our heart and listen to our heart, listen to our intuition. But if you can strip out all the noise and you can be honest with yourself, you know whether or not you're doing what it is you're supposed to do. The things I just talked about help tell you that, but at the end of the day, you know whether or not you feel like you're living out your purpose. You know whether or not you feel like you're living up to your potential. You know whether or not you feel like you should be doing something different than what you're doing. Like the how to get there, what that necessarily is, like that's not even necessarily the important part of this little check. If we're trying to figure out, are you close to living your authentic life, or are you living your authentic life? If you can be honest and dig deep, you know. And if you are, then keep on pursuing that path. But if you're not, then that's where the work comes in. But you will know. And the sixth thing I'll bring up is working with somebody. I mentioned I recently hired a coach because I felt like I have gone as far as I can go in this phase of my life, in this kind of awakening and self-discovery and alignment of spirit, mind, and body, and finding my authentic life. I've gone as far as I think I can right now by myself. I need somebody else to help me. I need somebody to see the shadows that are behind me that I used to think shadow work meant it was trauma, but realized that like there's a light shining on me today. There is a shadow behind me that I can't see. That shadow doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. Maybe it is, but it may not be, but I can't see it. And if I turn my head, it moves. I need somebody else to help me see that shadow, those things that might be holding me back, to help me see those and address those so I can move forward. So you can do these tests, but eventually you're probably going to need somebody to work with. You get therapists. There are tons of coaches out there. And, old me wouldn't do this next part, but I feel like it's an obligation and my responsibility to talk about Life Design Plus. I recently redid my personal website. There's now a tab in the headlines that says work with me. And there are 3 relationships. 2 of them are centered around helping individuals or helping financial advisors begin to find and live their authentic life, focusing on an alignment of spirit, mind, and body. It's rooted in the foundation of it is George Kinder's Evoke process. So Life Design Plus is a way for me to help people find their authentic life and do it more so as a guide. So again, rooted in the Evoke process, but what makes my process different from everybody else's is a focus on helping you align spirit, mind, and body and money, and then allowing that to be a big part of the process as well. So again, I have a gift. This is what I'm doing going forward. I would be remiss if I did not bring it and remind you about Life Design Plus being a way to help you when you go through these checks and you realize, hey, I'm not as close to my authentic life as I want to be. There's something more for me. I don't know what it is. I don't know how to get there. Life Design Plus is a way for me to help people one-on-one do that. And the key thing is It's just me being able to help you find your own answers. Again, the final one before mentioning people was the answers lie within you. It's just whether or not you have found them yet or if you need somebody to help you. So that's how you can determine whether or not you're at your authentic life. Maybe that helps you better understand what I mean by authentic life. If the definition doesn't register, if seeing those words doesn't excite you like it excites me, you're going back to just, how do you feel? Are you seeing a lot of synchronicities in your life that are giving you the confirmation that you're doing what you're supposed to be, you're where you're supposed to be? What are the obstacles that you come across? Are they helping you grow and moving you forward, or are they, standing in your way truly, or are they telling you to go somewhere else? Do you have a calling? Are you following that calling, or is it calling you away from the path that you're on? And then at the end of the day, whether or not you are being the version of yourself that you're supposed to be. And if you need help navigating all that, find somebody. Whether it's myself or somebody else, find somebody to help you do it, because at the end of the day, you will be happier, you will make a greater impact, and ultimately the world will be better if you move closer to your authentic life. If I'm right about the authentic life, and we were all created to live a life and bring these unique gifts and talents and skills to the world, then you being the authentic version of yourself not only makes you happier, it makes the world a better place, because you're bringing the thing that only you can bring to the world. And so many of us are bringing things to the world that the world needs, but there are other people who can do that as well. You're not bringing the thing that only you can bring. And if we go to a high level, if everybody is living their authentic life, which I know is not possible, but everybody lives their authentic life and brings those unique skills, then we're going to be operating in perfect harmony. Perfect harmony would be possible if everybody was able to know and live their authentic life. There'd be no more conflict. There'd be no more fighting. We all complement each other. We're all happy. No one is sad. No one wants to bring anybody else down, because we're all living the life that we were supposed to live. And while I don't think we can get to 100%, the more people that I can get them thinking about and exploring and moving in that direction, whether that is through the content, whether that is through the podcast, whether it is through Life Design Plus, the more people I can help move closer to their authentic life, then we're one by one slowly making the world a better place. So how close are you to living your authentic life? Are you far away? Are you close? Are you living it? Are you evolving with it? These 5 little checks are ways to just kind of take get a gauge of the temperature of how hot or how cold you are if we go back to the game we used to play. So, so that's it. That's all I have for you today. This came from a daily note. One of these videos, I'll do more of these, trying to give you some more tidbits to help you move closer to living your authentic life. So with that, we'll see you all in the next one.